What's good, y'all? It's your boy Reek got options, and like always, say whether the market's up or down, we see green. And for the last 3 trading days, we've seen a lot of green because SPY has found support right here at 726. So was it Thursday of Trump bringing out that news saying that, hey, we're going to have a peace deal with Iran, or was it that we found support? It was both. To be honest, we did come all the way back down to the breakout right here at May 6th and May 5th area with that gap. We filled that gap to the downside, so you should have known that we were going to have support right here. I have my alerts to the downside for the flush. Did not happen. Then we bounced off my 23% retracement level right here and the 50 EMA. My 23% retracement level is because my fibs are from June 1st high and May 4th low. I just took my fibs, dragged them down, and then this is the area that I'm trading in. We did have a slight rejection right here on Friday at the 66618 range, but we started to break out. We did come down a little bit to retest this area, which was Friday's low of June 5th, and we started breaking out. So you can see that we are hitting a lot of supports rather than just following headlines. So you need to pay attention to both because technicals reign supreme. All right. So was it a coincidence that this happened? I don't believe it was. I just think the news is perfectly timed when we found support right here and it just shot the market up like a slingshot. Now we're sitting above the 78% retracement level in between this data right here, and we need to get above 756 in order to make new highs, which I do believe that could happen by the end of this week if everything goes well with the Fed meeting on Wednesday. So we still have to be tuned with that. We do have a big gap fill right here. So if nothing goes the way we want when it comes to rate cuts and things of that nature, then we could come back down to the 745 area. But we are sitting on the cusp of the Strait of Hormuz opening up and that deal getting signed with Iran on June 19th. Looking at SpaceX, this is just beautiful right here. All right, look at this. It opened up. It only has a day of data because it opened up on Friday, but it did have the share prices at 135 when it went public. If you got those IPOs, then you are doing great. At around noon on Friday, SpaceX came out about 165, dropped down to a low of 168. To be honest, we can open this up and then go to Friday and then check and see exactly where it was at. And the low was 135, opened up, came down to a low of 157 before running all the way up today, and it's sitting around $200. Now, overnight trading, it is about $217. So it's up over $80 per share if you were to get those shares at 135. SpaceX is doing great and is looking very, very good. That is also looking good for Tesla because now Tesla has found support right here at 386, 387, and pushed up over the 200 EMA and my 78% retracement level with the 9 EMA with a bullish curve about to break out of this 50 EMA right here and found support at the 21 EMA today. Once you get over 415, this 415 area for Tesla, Tesla should shoot up. I do have a high in the next couple months of Tesla getting back to 450, around this 450 area before coming back down. It could get a nice rejection and pull back from 425 back down to 415 and then run back up. So you need to pay attention to Tesla making those type of moves. We do have a slight downtrend, but if you just draw this downtrend up, and you can see, like, if you break that downtrend right here at 425 area, then you're good money for Tesla. So you need to pay attention for that. And it makes a nice little wedge inside of here. So don't get super bearish until you get under 387. All right, preferably 385, and we'll get the continuation to the downside with Tesla. Looking at Apple, Apple is on the cusp of forming this bear flag right here. It has this nice wedge, but if it does break out of 300, it's going to look good. We went to the 30-minute chart today in the Discord, and we drew this up on Apple about how it's going to trade today, and we got to the 200 EMA on the 30-minute chart right here, and we found rejection, and we talked about it coming back down here to 295. So it got about 297, 298, and then came back down to this area to find support. That is great because it was pre-market high. We rejected from right there. Now that we see that the pre-market high was a strong support today, day traders did well once you got the breakout. Played to the 200 EMA and you took your profits here, or you just flipped and got puts and played it back down to the pre-market high. Good price action up and down. Now it's just consolidating inside this area. So you're waiting for a breakout of 297 or a breakdown of 295. This $2 area, you can get chopped up in here, but what you need to do is just pay attention to the breakout or breakdown and you should be fine. So checking out the daily, we do have this wedge right here that is forming with Apple is a bear flag. You have the 90 EMA still below the 21 EMA. This needs to change or we will flush down. So we get to 300, we could come back down with Apple. So I'm paying attention to these levels to the upside for a nice rejection. UNH, we drew the wedge up in the shorts that we talked about with healthcare being in rotation, that sector being in rotation. And it seems like we're getting a bullish breakout right here above 415, 416. We can see 430 on UNH, and that would be love because if you zoom out, we have a lot of upside for UNH. So UNH is just getting started. So if you get the long terms for 500 for a couple months, UNH will be the ticker that's going to take you to the promised land. Okay, just watch UNH breaking down below 400. If it breaks down below 400, that is the low of this wedge, and that is the high of this wedge right here. So if we break down below that area, we're coming all the way back down to about the 375 area. We'll make a pit stop at 385 and then 375, and you don't want that. All right, so pay attention to UNH. We have the upside level set up already. We have bullish movement to the upside, and the downside levels would just be below the areas of where we had consolidation at. Palantir, nice bounce off the 400 EMA on the daily. We talked about the support 1, 2, 3. Nice triple bottom. Okay, we do have earnings coming out in August. If you play the pre-earnings run up, you can see Palantir back above 140 well before August. Okay, so you need to pay attention to that. This is a nice strong support. Every time we hit that support, the last two times, we ran from 125 all the way up to this 200 EMA right here around 150 on the daily. So we can possibly get the 150. All right, you just have to hold firm with Palantir. Trying to day trade this would be cool, but holding it for the long term would possibly get you the breakout that you need. The long term is the safest play because you can take all of this right here, this quick movement right here, and you can extend it out here to where it's been consolidating that and trying to get the breakout. Back of SPY, you have to pay attention because when you zoom out, we still have some gaps to fill to the downside. It has been a lot of movement, a lot of noise between this 760 area all the way down to 725. All right, so 35 points moving, and you know SPY can move 35 points real fast in a couple of days. So we have big data coming out, big news sets and everything. You need to pay attention because this week is one of the most important weeks with the FOMC meeting and the Strait of Hormuz opening back up, along with the U.S. and Iran coming to some type of peace terms. But like I always say, whether the market's up or down, we see green. Peace.